Hello, everybody, and welcome to the FloTrack podcast, Paris edition, presented by Wonderful Pistachios. I'm Livek Pone, joined with Corey Mall. We finally have made it to the last day of the Paris Olympic Games.
Very early Sunday morning,
cranking it out
in
the marathon.
In the marathon.
And I can't think of any better guest than having Molly Huddle joining us today. She's the 2016 Olympian. And Molly, we're just super excited. And Molly was up watching this marathon too. So Molly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi guys, great to be here. Sad the Olympics are over, but it'll be fun to kind of talk about it and nerd out about our favorite things.
I know. I woke up this morning because the women's volleyball team was playing gold against Italy. And it hit me, just like Molly said, I was like, wow, this is the last day of the Olympics. It's actually kind of sad. I've been looking forward to getting up and seeing all the other events take place. And it finally has come to a close. We got to wait for another 4 years to have this special moment again.
It was a good 11 days, 12 days, 13 days,
13
however long
days.
it was.
It was awesome. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into it, Molly. Sifan Hassan takes the marathon gold with a new Olympic record. And Corey and I were talking about it yesterday here in the office. And we're like, can she get on the podium? That's a big question because she was doing the 5K, the 10K. Molly, did you think this was possible for Sifan Hassan to get on the podium, but to come away with the gold medal this morning?
You know, on paper, it sounded impossible, but we've seen Sifan do some amazing doubles and triples before. And then when you throw the marathon in the mix, it's kind of like, I don't know, you want to be pretty fresh for a marathon, especially on a hard course like that. But man, she just did the Sifan thing where she was always there in the back, always there. And when it was time to go to the front, she went to the front. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but then I could at the same time. You know, I've seen it before, but every time she does it, I'm just like amazed.
Incredible. 2 bronze in the 5K, 10K, a gold in Paris, and 3, which is incredible, is 3 of the top 6 runners all set lifetime best. And we already know this course is hilly. It was hot. It was humid, just like how it was for the men. But Sifan Hassan just breaks the Olympic record with the 2:22:55, and it was 37 hours after earning the bronze in that 10K. And the top 2 finishers, actually, in the world record holder, Tigist Assefa, went 2:22:58 underneath that previous mark of 2:23:07. Corey, it was a sprint to the finish. I know we've been watching kind of some different replays. I can't believe Hassan actually was able to sprint those last few marks there.
Yeah. One of the greatest overall performances in Olympic history for her. The only other athlete in history to attain this triple was Emil Zatepek in 1952. For Sifan, this was her 62nd kilometer of the Olympic Games over 10 days. That's 38.6 miles. You already mentioned how close it was to her last race. And, obviously she got asked a lot about this and how she felt. And she was quoted as saying, "Can you imagine for 2 hours just focusing on every step? I have never focused like I focused today." And going down to the wire with Assefa, getting bodied up a little bit, right? The last 300 meters. All right, we got some football happening. But if there was anyone who had earned the right to win a marathon in that moment, it was her.
Yeah. Molly, I want to ask you, because I know you were up at the crack of dawn watching this. At what moment for you personally did you feel like, okay, I think Hassan can grab this gold? Because you mentioned it. This is her race strategy, always starting from the back, slowly making her way up to the front, and she's going to give it all she has with whatever time she has left. But for you, Molly, when you're watching this at home, when did it click that maybe, okay, Hassan actually can grab this gold?
It wasn't until inside the last 10K, even actually probably inside the last 5K, when it whittled down to 4 women, when they started to lose Sharon, I was like, okay, Sifan is still there. And there were a few points where she would fade off a little bit, like on that uphill, she really looked quite hunched over and gave them just a little bit of daylight, nothing huge. But yeah, I knew once she could sniff the finish line, she does what she always does, and she would be very hard to beat with her finishing speed, even as a marathon runner. So yeah, as soon as they whittled down to 4, and I could tell that she was thinking about the finish line, I was like, I'll never say she's got it 100% because Assefa's a 211 woman, but she just, yeah, knows how to win a race.
She knows how to win a race. That is for sure. Helen Obiri grabs the bronze, another personal best, 2:23.10. Shakarian Logdecki, 2:23.14. Again, another personal best. So the fact that Hassan has just racked up a total of 6 Olympic medals just speaks volumes on the athlete that she is.
And now she has 3 golds in the 5K, 10K, and marathon. She won the 5K, 10K back in Tokyo in 21. So you got to look at her as one of the best distance runners ever at 31 years old. And, she still has some time to continue to race and run well. O'Berry, for me, I really thought, that was a runner that had the chance here. And she put herself in the mix. But at some point, Molly, she got a little taken away with the water station, right? There's a little bit of a mix-up at the water station, and she faded back to 16th at one point. What happened with O'Beary? She had to kind of catch up back into the pack?
There were a couple points, I think, so early in the race, in the first few miles, I wonder if she stumbled, or I don't know if she completely fell. She kind of had to, run back through. And then there was a point where she missed a bottle kind of later in the race. And I don't know if there was a stumble getting that bottle back. I didn't see that. But there were a few points where she kind of was shaken off the pack and put her way back. But then after that, it seemed like she was biding her time. And, I think she likes a slower pace. I think she never pushed it in the Boston and the New York that she won. So she made the race really interesting. She's very good at a challenging course. And so I actually thought she was the favorite going in.
That's interesting too. Yeah. Of course, we're live on YouTube, and one of our favorite listeners, All in the Game, put in a really nice question because Sifan Hassan has made it very clear, she's always curious to see what she's capable of doing. I personally did not think she was going to get on the podium for all 3 of these events, but the fact that she's ending the Olympic Games with the gold, their question is, what does she do next in her career? What do you think we're going to see from Sifan Hassan moving forward? Because she already has 3 medals. Does she go for all 3 gold next? I just don't know what you do from here.
I know.
What do you do from here?
I have the perfect idea. Ultra marathon.
Oh, gosh. Ultra marathon.
Hey, let's do 100 for Hassan. Get her out there, in the desert, 100-mile hottest race on earth. I'm kidding, but what else is there to accomplish? 1,500 meters, 5K, 10K, marathon. There's, nowhere else you can go other than the 800, maybe. I don't know. Molly, what do you think?
Yeah, Molly, what do you think?
There's the world record, but as far as the other events are concerned, who knows? Who knows? Maybe she goes down. Maybe we see her in the 400 in 2028. Oh, she's fast.
How fast do you think Hassan could do a full 400?
That's a great question. What do you think her 400 speed is? She's well under 2 for the 800, right? I don't know her PB off.
That is a great question. I would venture to say under 60. I'll give her that.
For sure, under 60.
Let's see. I'm pulling up.
Yeah.
Personal best.
What did she close the marathon in today? That's my question. How fast was that last sprint by those two? That might have been.
Well, the world record.
Track speed.
The world record, as you mentioned, 2:11:53 from Assefa. Do you think she has a chance of going after that?
She beat her head to head. I do think so. I've heard that 2:11 time thrown around by O'Beary's camp, and so Sifan is up there with them. It's mind-boggling, but you've got to think it's possible.
To put this in perspective, I know Molly just asked what her I just know her personal best. I don't know what she closed in, but she's gone 156.81 in the 800, and that was back in 2017.
Wait, 156?
Yeah, 156.81.
Wow.
In Monaco, July 21st, 2017.
Wow.
I would be actually curious to see her go down to the 8.
How old was she in the? That would be, 7? So she'd be 24 at that point.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so fast.
So maybe we see her go down in distance. I think that'd be.
You tend to go up in distance as you get a little bit older.
Yeah, I know.
So, ultra marathon.
We're talking about Sifan Hassan here.
50K maybe.
But along with Sifan Hassan, there's always people in your corner that have your back. And we have this amazing quote by Tim Roberry, who's actually Sifan Hassan's coach. And later they said, I'm just emotional because it's tough. This is, as she said, one of the hardest years she's ever had in training. And as a coach, there were so many times I thought, like, I need to quit this job. It's really hard on me too. And I feel like when you're having the most arguments, that's when you have the most success, because that means you really want something and then the drive is there. And I thought that was just so incredible to hear from a coach's perspective of, like, they're working together as a team. Yes, there's going to be arguments left and right, but the main goal is the main goal. And Sifan Hassan just did an incredible job doing that. Just racking it all up.
My bigger question is, obviously, this is a rare thing. The last time, as we mentioned, it had been done, 1952. Does anyone go for this kind of treble in the near future again?
Like going for all three?
5K, 10K marathon.
It takes a special person to want to commit to that. Personally,
and you have to be from a country that she races for the Netherlands. I think is helpful, because if she raced for one of the deeper countries, they might not let her do that. But yeah, that's a tall order for anybody.
Yeah,
I really want to see the documentary on Sifan Hassan. Someone needs to make that. I would watch that Netflix show in a minute. She's such an interesting athlete. Like, she doesn't look like she 100% loves racing. Like, she does look very nervous for how good she is. And I just want to get inside her brain and, like, I want to follow her around for like a week.
I'm totally down for that. We should look into that.
Sure.
Just follow Sifan Hassan for like a week. I want to see what her training looks like.
Right? How do you train for a 5K marathon? What does that?
What does that look like?
I mean, I don't know. I would think it's a lot of volume, Molly. A lot of volume, but like, you obviously need the speed there for the 5K. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably very specific.
Let's talk about Team USA, because we've had great performances coming from Dakota Lindworm and Emily Sisson, who Molly wanted to make sure that she was watching. Dakota Lindworm finishes 12th, 226.44. Emily Sisson, 229.53. Molly, what does this mean to just watch your friends compete at this level, and especially on this difficult course here this morning?
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to wait for results. I just wanted to see, as much as I could. You didn't get to see a lot, unfortunately, of sort of like the not the front runners. And I think Dakota and Emily were trying to run really smart. Unfortunately, we saw Fiona have to step off with an injury really early in the race. We saw that. And I think Emily was probably not feeling great. I haven't talked to her yet, so I don't know what she definitely would have liked to, I'm sure, have been up closer to Dakota. I thought Dakota ran really smart. I thought she ran really tough. It doesn't surprise me that she's good at a tough course in tough weather conditions, because she's just a very gritty runner, and she's a true marathoner. I feel like the true marathoners, they're there for all of it. They're there for the weather. They're there for the hills. They're there for the downhills. Like, they just are very adaptable in that way. So it was great to watch her. Almost a top 10 finish for Dakota, which it would have been huge. But yeah, 12th, what a great day. Only a few minutes off her PB.
Yeah, that was incredible. I feel so bad for Fiona, especially as you mentioned, Molly. Like, it seemed like it didn't look well from the start, and I think she was limping. And I don't think she made it through the first 5K. Is that right, Molly?
It was really early that she stepped off. Yeah, it might have been like 2K or something. I don't know, but it was really early.
Really early. And I know Runner's World reported on August 9th that Jess McLean, who finished 4th at trials, flew to Paris in case one of the American marathon runners couldn't run. And I believe that she was there August 7th. I don't know if she was still there or not. But nonetheless, it was just difficult to kind of see Fiona just not probably have the race that she wanted, and especially at the Olympic Games, as big as it is too.
Yeah, I'm of the feeling personally that if you earn the spot, it's your decision. However you go. I mean, she earned the spot for the marathon, finishing at the trials. I know a lot of people are talking about like the overall perspective of what you do in that situation if you know you're hurt, but that's really only up for Fiona to determine, right? I don't think you can take that out of her hands and, USATF just says, bam, we're replacing you. I think it's up to her. So very unfortunate. But she is an Olympian, and she has to come to that decision personally on my end.
Yeah, I agree with you, Corey. I feel like I've had mixed feelings about it. I understand her perspective of like, and again, this is just speculation. So I'm just assuming like she probably wasn't feeling the best going into the games. And the fact that Jess got a call and was like, hey, you might be needed. Like, come on over to Paris, and she's been ready to go. I just feel like there's just been a lot of moving pieces. But yes, Fiona does have the right to decide whether or not she wants to compete. I just am probably one of those people that I'm like, if I'm not able to run, I'm just going to kind of give it to that next person to compete so we can have a good showing. But yeah, it's just like two different mixtures of viewpoints, which totally understand. Everyone's entitled to their opinion too. But overall, I felt like the two Americans that crossed the finish line today.
What happened with Sherika Jackson, Jamaica? She gives up her 100-meter spot. She does all she can to get to the line for the 200, but ultimately it doesn't happen. This isn't like an off radar thing that is just singularly for the marathon. This happens across the Olympics.
Right.
Every single athlete's trying to get to the line. So I understand like that decision. You're doing everything in your power to get there. That is the overall goal for Fiona O'Keefe. So, it happened across the Olympics in track and field events this year too.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts, Molly, on the women's marathon or even the men's marathon? I know we kind of talked about it yesterday, but do you have any takeaways from either one of those races?
Yeah, I mean, the men's was similarly under the Olympic record. It was similarly like quite fast. Connor and Clayton ran pretty close to their PBs as well on the U.S. side. So if you were prepared, you could it was probably just a grueling day, but you could have a fast time. So we saw that happen. We didn't see a ton of carnage. Remember Tokyo? People were fainting across the line, being carted off the course. We didn't see that really. We saw, just the typical marathon, and, people thought they could get through it, probably were carrying an injury, stepped off once or twice. But yeah, that surprised me. So it was a pretty great race by Tola. He broke away pretty easily. It wasn't like the women's race, but it was fast.
Totally two different races. Just wild. But nonetheless, great performances, and that kind of caps it off.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. I want to talk about the People's Marathon.
People's Marathon, okay.
Do you know this?
No.
Molly, did you hear about the People's Marathon on Saturday night?
I did. It sounded so cool.
Wait, what happened?
Well, so there was a men's marathon on Saturday morning. There was a women's marathon on Sunday morning. And Saturday night, they had the People's Marathon and the People's 10K. 20,000 people got bibs to run on the Olympic course in Paris.
What?
Saturday night, 20,000 extra people ran a 10K. I think I read that Jared Ward won the People's Marathon. I can't verify this, but I know that he ran. He tweeted at Clayton, or he Instagrammed at Clayton and Connor that, hey, thanks for warming up the course for me. So he was out there with his family. And, previous Olympics he had run, but his family wasn't able to sort of be there with him. So he brought his family for the first time here, and he was able to run it. I thought it was an incredible moment, obviously, to get people on the course and to do that. Molly, what are your thoughts on this? Has this ever been done before?
It never has, and it's a great idea. I don't know if at World Championships last year they introduced a masses marathon. They may have. I wasn't paying attention, but it's a great idea. I think, you would did it, you could get way more than 20,000 people that want to do it. So maybe next time it grows, but to experience what the athletes experience and kind of like have a little piece of the Olympics like in your own legs is such a cool thing. That's cool that Jared was there. I saw a few like sort of celebrity athletes entered. I saw Mo Farah tweet that he was racing it, and I don't know if he did the 10. Wow. Yeah, he had a little bid laid out and everything on Instagram. So pretty cool event. Some pieces of history probably running along with the people as far as former athletes. And I don't know how you got a bib. I wonder how they determined that. But,
I feel like they have to. If they do this again, they gotta like go inside the Olympic pool and get like LeBron James doing this, like
or
at least a 10K, or get some really like big athletes and just have them run maybe a 5K or something.
That's really cool. I'm really happy that they did that. I wish we would have known. I feel like that would be something to kind of get everyone involved in the Olympics. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, the Runner's World
Yeah.
report that wrote about Jess McClain said that if she wasn't going to line up, she was going to do the People's Marathon, which is the first time I learned about it. So looked into it and couldn't verify that she was there, but I know that it happened, and Jared Ward was all about it. So
I feel like we should continue that and open it up to like the public so we could all register and do it.
I don't know how you clean the course afterwards.
Yeah, how do you do
You know,
that?
the logistics of holding a marathon hours before your actual Olympic marathon.
Yeah. That's insane.
Well, I didn't know. I thought maybe the masses were going to line up behind the women,
Yeah.
and I saw that they did it the night before. So you're right; they had to do a quick cleanup. Whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder what time it started. I need to go look at the details.
Yeah.
But
And I'm
it would
assuming
be cool
maybe
if
they
it was a mass event
Yeah.
behind the Olympians, but maybe for security you can't do that.
Yeah.
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 Or maybe there was a cutoff time. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's a lot of people.
It is.
And a lot of things to probably clean up as well. But that honestly just does it for all of the Olympics, which leads us now into this next segment, which I'm looking forward to. We're calling it the End of the Olympics Awards. So we're going to dive into our MVPs, our favorite moments, our favorite medalist performance, and then also the most surprising award. And I reached out to Molly beforehand. So Molly, if you have any of these, we would love to hear who they are for you. But let's start with the MVP. Corey, who is your MVP from the track Olympics?
Well, definitely Sifan. You know, we already talked about it. I think Gabby Thomas kind of merits some selection here. 200-meter gold, 4x1 gold, 4x4 gold. Really big Olympics for her, and she was able to put the pieces together for that, so that's incredible. I would go with Gabby Thomas. And then my honorable mention is Grant Fisher.
Wow. Honorable mention. See, I have Grant Fisher. I have two MVPs. Grant Fisher is one of them for me. Just seeing what he has done this Olympics is just so memorable. The only American to double in the 5K, 10K, and bring home medals for that is amazing. And then I mentioned this guy yesterday, Vernon Norwood, MVP for me. He was ultimately the glue for the mixed 4x4 and the men's 4x4. Got a world record too. So Vernon Norwood, Grant Fisher.
Do you think
are
he's
my
getting
MVPs.
50K from Shannon Sharp?
Oh, I would think so, right? Because they said
50K for world record setters
Yes.
for the American side.
yes.
But Shannon's probably looking at some of the gold medalists there, and he's like, I don't know.
Because you have to give it to all of them, right? Even though
Well, world
so
record.
just the prelim, yeah,
Just Americans.
Yeah.
Just world record setters.
yeah. But my brain was automatically thinking, do you give it to like the finalists too, because they were a part of it? But it's only the world record, so it would have been Vernon,
Kaylin, Aaliyah, and Bryce.
and Bryce. That's right. Yeah. So 50K for each.
Oh, no, Shamir's in it. Not Aaliyah.
Yeah, Shamir. So 50K for each.
I don't know. Maybe you split the 50K
Nah.
between them.
Nah, give me
Between-
my
between
50K.
Between them.
Molly, do you have an MVP? Who really stood out to you as kind of that hero?
Oh my gosh. Okay, those were great answers. Definitely Sifan, Grant on the radar, Vernon. I thought that too in the relays. I was like, thank God they have Vernon to tell everyone how it's going. He's the veteran. But I guess to be different, I'll say Jasmine Moore with her two
Yeah.
medals and two different jumps. Like, that's history right there.
That is. I like that pick. I like Jasmine.
Hey, I have her on my list down the line.
you have her on the
Yeah,
list?
huge fan of that.
Okay.
It's a hard MVP. Like, so much amazingness happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Hard list.
Our favorite moment over the last 11 days. Corey, what was that moment for you?
Well, I chatted about the 1,500 meters yesterday. That still stands. But if I'm not talking about the 1,500 meters, which will be memorable well beyond this week, I'm going with Mondo Duplantis, the Swedish pole vaulter breaking a world record, 6.25 meters, silenced an entire stadium during his walk-up and run-out. And I think that is very rare to see. We talked to Evan Jager about it. You know, he had seen it just a handful of times before. He has that power, Mondo Duplantis, to do that, and I think that will be remembered long after the Paris Olympics, his world record and what he was able to accomplish.
I like that. I think personally, outside of the world records, because my brain automatically goes 4x4, it goes to Mondo. I have a stat, but the more I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to change my answer that I have on paper. I'm giving my favorite moment to Tobogo. And I know we talked about him yesterday. Winning that 200, so memorable. And I just remember him running across the finish line No emotion. Like, it was just like a blank face. Like, yeah, I did it. I've planned this. Kenny B getting second. Noah Lyles getting third. I think that was such a great race that I will always remember. But I'm also impressed because with the sweeps, I believe this was the first time in history that Team USA have actually swept all 4 hurdle events at the Olympic Games. So you have Grant Holloway and Masai Russell in the short hurdles, and then Rai Benjamin and then Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone sweeping the longer hurdles. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. All 4 of those were great moments. So I kind of got a 4-1 deal, but then I have Tobogo as like that race. And oh man, that 4x4. That was a great moment too. So many options, but I'm going to stick with Tobogo and then us sweeping. Molly, for you, do you have a favorite moment over the last 11 days?
Those were all great too. Moment made me think of just like a meme moment, like there were a lot of those. So I loved Sha'Carri's look over in the 4x1. Like I just loved that so much.
That was awesome.
In slow motion.
Slow
the slow
motion.
motion look
The
over.
slow
Just
motion was just like cinematic. Yeah, it was so cool.
I don't expect anything less
Yeah.
from Sha'Carri. I'm like, that was awesome. All right, our third award, our favorite medalist performance. So this could have been a gold medalist, silver medalist, bronze medalist, someone that was on the podium. What was your favorite performance from the games?
I mean, this particular person did win a gold medal. He did run an incredible time. But I'm picking him because he is my favorite person from the Olympics, and that is Quincy Hall, 400-meter gold medalist.
I love that pick.
I can't get enough of him. Just get him on a microphone and let him speak because he is a wonderful person to listen to. A couple of his great quotes: "Cannot outrun a dog. The dog will chase you forever. If you don't get far away enough, I'm going to catch you every time. I grind. I got determination. Anything that I can think of that's going to get me to that line, I think of it. All the hurt, all the pain." Quincy Hall is our I would say is our king this Olympic period, I think, from the U.S. team. I think this guy deserves a welcome return home.
I agree 1,000%. I have to Cole Hawker. I feel like by obvious reasons, that race I will remember for a lifetime. And I just remember being in the office in the whole entire, like our whole entire corner. It was quiet too that day. And I just remember screaming, and all of a sudden the wrestlers were over there. Like people on our floor started like hovering over to see why we were screaming. Then everyone else started screaming. So Cole Hawker I have as a favorite medalist of mine. I'm also a huge fan of Val Allman and just being able to grab that gold in the discus, and all of her throws were just spectacular. She's been consistent. But I'm also going to give it to Gabby Thomas. I think you, or maybe Molly mentioned. I can't remember. Okay, you did. I was like, Gabby Thomas becoming the first, I believe she became the first American woman for Team USA to win 3 gold in one Olympics after Allison Felix. It hasn't been done since then. So again, just making history for Gabby Thomas and just seeing her win that too, being a part of that 4x1, and then showing us her strength in that 400 to run the number 2 all time, just off the world record in that 4x4 yesterday. So kudos to Gabby Thomas. Molly, who is your favorite medalist from the games?
Okay, those were all great. Definitely a Quincy Hall fan as well. Like I want multiple answers, but I guess I'll narrow in on Grant Fisher's 5K because we have never had an American man or woman medal at the 5K. But well, actually, wait, did Chlemo medal in the 5K last Olympics? Did that double medal though? It was his second event, and I thought he was out of it that last lap. And I was like, oh, like Grant's just not fast enough for the 5K. Like his 10K was a great performance, and then he came back on everybody the last 200. Like I don't know how he did it. So I'm going to say that 5K, that second medal, he could have been out celebrating. Instead, he came back and got another one.
I'm also looking at the chat too. People are shouting out Zarnell Hughes. Andre DeGrasse and Binet also grabbing medals. Those are some of our fans' favorite moments as well. So
if you're Canadian, definitely
yes, Andre
DeGrasse and company in the 4x1. I mean, you got it. They won 2021, didn't they? Or was that a world championship? All being said, Canada always comes to play.
I think they did actually. I think they won 2021.
Yeah.
I believe so. Might have to pull that stat up, but
yeah.
I think they have. All right, final award before we chat more about Molly Huddle's Olympic experience, the most surprising award. This kind of took us for a turn. This is where you drop the eyeball emojis potentially. Maybe the emoji where it's like the brains popped off,
Yep.
like it's wild. Corey, what is your surprising award?
Fact check on that last thing. Italy won 2021. Canada was second, by the
Oh.
way. So it's just FYI.
Thank you.
But I'm going back to the 4x1, and this is more of a disappointing failure, I think, but it is the most surprising moment of the games. It's the U.S. not being able to finish there. Big yikes.
Big yikes.
Rough. Hopefully we get over that hump. And then the second one, obviously, is a more positive light. It's Jasmine Moore, our girl from Texas, being able to medal in both the long jump and the triple jump. 3 years wiser. She had been to the Olympics in 2021, but didn't get to the final in the triple jump. Is back better than ever, and obviously one of our most talented field event athletes.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing as Corey. I got like one surprising moment and one lighter moment. My surprising moment was Jakob Ingebrigtsen in the 15 not getting on the podium. Again, such an incredible finish in that 15 with Josh Kerr, Cole Hawker, Yard Naguse. But I know we were all it was like, where was Jakob going to finish? It was kind of the big question going into that 15 and just wasn't able to hold on. So settles for fourth. But we've talked about this guy already, but the big surprising award was the grit and the determination from Quincy Hall. That comeback was real. The memes are flooding all over my timeline from that 400-meter final. So Quincy, I'm not surprised by Quincy winning because I did have him winning. It was just how he went about winning that surprised me. Just true grit that last 100 meters. Molly, what is your most surprising award?
Oh gosh, yeah. Olympics are full of surprises. Right? That's why we do the race. But I'm gonna say for the women's 1500 bronze medalist Georgia Bell. If you followed her story, she took a step away from running. I think she switched sports to triathlon or duathlon for a while. She had a full-time job as of 2 years ago, and she cut like teens of seconds off her mile time to get the medal this year and a British record. So
Yes.
I don't know that many people had that prediction from her. Just like really rose to the occasion with that performance.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Taking Laura Murr's national record too. Like, I'm a huge fan of Georgia Bell now after seeing her compete this week. I was like, oh, very impressed by this.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
We got a lot of great comments in the chat, and I just
love
want to
it.
mention some of these.
Yeah.
All the games said a lot of neutrals love the mixed 4x4 final. Yeah, we need more track neutrals as fans.
Yes.
Grow the sport. Anthony Rock said Ry Benjamin finally getting his gold.
Yes.
Obviously a big one. I really like this one from, maybe this is Mondo Duplantis watching our stream. It's Mondo851. Is this Mondo Duplantis? I don't know. But he said Kenneth Rook's steeplechase bid, almost another
Yes.
Hawker moment. We forgot about that. Kenneth getting a medal in the
Goodness.
steeplechase.
Wild.
That was insane. Molly, what were your thoughts on that?
It was insane. Like it felt like I was watching just like an unreal race. Like I was like, Kenneth is going for the win. Like he is not intimidated by the Olympic moment, by Bakali behind him, who is like, this legend in the sport. He made him work hard the last 200 to get by him. It was amazing. It's the men's distance squad. This Olympics was just so inspiring. You felt like every time they lined up, they could get like not one but two medals in the event. Like who knew what could happen? So yeah, Kenneth was just unbelievable.
Yes. Any other ones from the chat you want to highlight?
Shikari not winning gold in the 100, surprising. Again, that's interesting. She did get a gold medal in the 4x1.
Yeah.
Femke not winning silver in the 400-meter hurdles. I know her coach tweeted after the race that she risked it all. Like her race pattern was put in place to compete with Sydney.
Yeah.
And when Sydney basically broke her down, she fell to third as a result of her just putting everything on the line. So
Right.
She went for it and then wasn't able to make it happen, but that was a surprise finishing third there.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm also really proud of Anna Cockrell. That was a strong
100%.
finish for her. But yeah, so many wild things. The 5K first round, was it 5K where everyone was just like falling on the track? Like it was just
Slow, moderate pace.
Yes.
And then the build up toward the final 4 laps.
Yes, just absolutely insane. Well, that pretty much like recaps everything with the Olympics, but I want to hone in on Molly and just your experience competing in 2016. You made it into the finals in that 10K. Can you just share with us a little bit more about that experience and just what do you remember from 2016 when you were there in Rio?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember comparing it to London, which had just like crazy fans in the stands, and Rio wasn't quite as full of the stadium. I think we were the first event, so we were where the 10K was for the men this year, just like first track final, and it was in the morning. So, it was kind of a not super wild environment there. I think it looked on TV like the crowd was more of a European track crowd, really into athletics, really into track and field, like looked like a full stadium. So that was really cool to see for this Olympics. Yeah, it was kind of quiet and it was fast from the gun. It wasn't like this year's race where, they went out in 15:35 or whatever for the first 5K. It was like stringing it out from the gun, kind of like how the 1500 went. So I remember just, you know, having to make decisions early and we lapped a lot of people and it was really painful. Those are the top memories.
Was the 10K, and I don't know what your favorite, let me start here. What was your favorite event to watch this year at the Olympics? Was it the 10K or was it another event?
1500, I think, was what I was really, just like the storyline. Yeah, the 1500
when you're
for women and men.
Yeah, just insane. All the races were incredible.
Can I ask a follow up to that?
Yeah.
The 1500 on the women's side is now kind of reaching historic levels. Dropping under 350. What do you think it'll take for American women to sort of get to that point now? Because I think we're capable, right? Obviously, showing it on the men's side, and obviously these women are super talented. What do you think it would take to get down to like the 350s on the American side?
I think we are there. I heard El Perier's coach say he thinks she can run like 352. She'd been running with Jess Hall all year. We watched Jess do it right behind Faith. I think you just have to have a day where you feel perfect. You need a 100% day, and those don't come every single race. So I think it's just making your timeline such that like you feel great on the days where it's gonna, where it's a Monaco, where it's a Olympic final. And that's what we're all trying to do, but like it's just not an exact science, a little bit of an art form to feel your best on the most important day. So I think we're close. I think, Nikki Hiltz has just gotten better every year. I think we just need the right day, really.
I know at one point we started talking about just the Americans and how they're growing, and we're starting to see, I don't want to say shift, but we're starting to see a blossom in distance events. I just think about Hobbs Kessler in the 8. You have Cole Hockard, Yard Nagoose, Hoppel in the 15 as well. We talked about Kenny Rooks in that 3K, Grant Fisher in the 5K, 10K. Why do you think we're starting to see like these Americans get onto the podium and starting to have these finalists at the Olympic Games, Molly? And where do you see us trending for the World Championships and the next Olympics to come?
I mean, it's a home Olympics, and typically you focus on getting as many medals as you can for, that home team. So if you can imagine it being better than this year, like that will be the goal next year. We'll probably be seeing more funding put into the sport, probably be seeing more contracts with, bigger numbers invested, thinking ahead to the stars you want to make for 2028. I think that's probably already been happening. And I think we just have a college system that is like closer to a professional level now than it was. These kids are coming out better, entering the pro ranks, like able to compete right away. So I think it's just all accelerating. And, then we have the technology too, but everyone has that. So, you still got to be better. So yeah, I think we're starting to train harder earlier. I don't know what that means for longevity, but we're getting medals. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Is there a certain athlete that you're kind of looking forward to seeing, like next year's World Championships? Is there someone during this Olympic time right now that you're like, ooh, you're starting to look great. I can't wait to see what you do next year. What athlete would that be for you?
Oh gosh, you want to see where Parker Valby is going to be in 4 years, right? I mean, she's so brave out there. She seems like she's not I know everyone is intimidated, but she mixed it up like as though she wasn't just out of college and hadn't ever raced those people before. So I'd say I really want to see how she's going to do in 4 years. And I mean, across all events, like Anna Hall in 4 years, like on home
Yes.
soil. I mean, I'm sure she's hungry for gold. So can't wait to see that play out.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to the next 15-year-old right now, or the 16-year-old right now, or the 17-year-old right now, who's looking in 4 years.
Yes.
Where are they going to be? Because we get that every cycle at least once.
Yeah.
So I I think there's so much to build on from this. My question to you, Molly. So this got a little bit of conversation online. The men's high jump was a jump
Mm.
off for a gold medal. Hamish Kerr of New Zealand and Shelby McEwen of the U.S. They could have tied. They could have said, we both want the gold medal. But they decided to jump off for it. Where do you stand on that? Because like the conversation online is like, we could have gotten the U.S. another gold medal, which would have allowed us to compete with China for the medal count. Like, where do you stand?
I'm not gonna lie, like I loved that heartwarming moment in the last Olympics where they shared the medal. I was like, oh, like, but then didn't they recently announce that the prize money will not be shared? And like all of a sudden, no one wanted to do that anymore, which I found so funny. I was like, okay, people don't really want to share if they're gonna have to split the prize money down the middle. I love a jump off. I mean, it's the Olympic Games. Like, it was good TV. It was dramatic. Um, yeah, it just felt right to do a jump off at the Olympics, right?
I agree. And I feel like you don't go to the Olympics wanting to tie.
No, I want my own
Right,
medal.
exactly.
You take the
Hmm.
risk.
You didn't say that yesterday, Olivia.
I know, but I'm like, I said I applaud McEwen for like wanting to take the risk. But
Yeah.
again, I'm like, if I'm already going to have the gold, just give me the gold,
Okay.
But I still applaud you for taking the risk. Molly, someone here in the chat, Anthony Rock, has a question for you. And it's really funny that they're bringing this up because you and I were just talking about this before we went live. Of course, your Instagram video about how to pronounce repechage. But this person wants to know, what are your thoughts on the repechage rounds? Are they good or are they bad?
I like it. I like it because you get to watch. Everyone says this: more track's not a bad thing, right? I think Michael Johnson said that. I agree. You get to watch another race, and as an athlete, you get the thing you want when you don't make the next round is another chance. I feel like every athlete that doesn't make the next round wants to walk off the track with another chance. And yeah, there's time qualifiers that would make it like a little simpler. You wouldn't have to race as many rounds, but um, I think it adds a little drama to it. And then you kind of have an extra underdog to root for because they had to run around the next day and then jump in the final the next day. And it's like, they wanted to be there, but they had a little extra adversity to get there. So it's kind of a cool element to add in.
I think after just seeing it unfold, I still have like neutral opinions on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's great because we talked about Freddie Crittenden being, I think, the first athlete to make it from a repechage round all the way to the final. He was dealing with some soreness in his abductor, so it kind of just gave him another chance to work on some things and to be safe. I get that. And I also like that these athletes also have a chance to not only compete once, but you have a chance to compete twice if you decide to go through that round. But I feel like those like top athletes like Rai Benjamin, Sydney, like they're just focused on what they need to do on the track. So they're not really probably thinking about repechage rounds.
Yeah.
So I feel neutral about it.
I was high on it to start. I think I'm a little mixed now on it. I think the situation where they maybe wanted to prevent didn't really happen this year, where like a huge favorite went down in a race or something like that. That didn't happen, I think, for the most part, other than Crittenden. But I think it's sort of a prevention or a cautionary method to make sure that our best athletes get into the semis. And, another Olympics, maybe that happens. So,
Yeah. Molly, one final question that I have for you is, I know you've showcased over the last several years of your career that you have a lot of range. Like you competed at the World Championships at the 5K, the 10K. I've seen you compete at major marathons over your career. So how has each distance and experience kind of shaped you into the athlete that we know you as today?
Yeah, I think that's just what helped my longevity in the sport because I always had something new to aim for. And while I was younger, the 5K was my focus. And then I decided to jump a little more into road running, half marathon distance, and that really complemented the 10K. And I just wasn't quite fast enough in the 5K at the world level. So we thought, hey, maybe 10K is more my event, and that's where we really tried to focus on trying to get records and medals. And then every distance runner wants to know what's the marathon like. And so I entered that phase of my career, later. And so it was just always keeping it interesting, and I always had to learn something new and a new like rhythm to the race. And I mean, marathon's a whole nother sport, really. So yeah, it just kept me super motivated and interested to try all three.
I like that. You remind me of Sifan Hassan, just always curious, always,
Curiosity,
challenging yourself, and that's what keeps Sifan Hassan going, just being curious.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you have any other questions for Molly? Because that was the last one I had on my doc. And I'm looking at the chat too. They're just like talking about repechage.
What's next up for you?
Yeah, what's next, Molly?
I took a little break last month. I'm probably gonna gear up for a few road races. I'm deciding if I want to run another marathon. It wouldn't be fall, it'd be more like winter. So I don't know. I'm just gonna see how these like shorter road races go in the fall and decide from there. But yeah, I'll be 40 in August, so I'll enter the masters ranks soon. Whole new level.
I'm right there with you, Molly. I'm right there with you.
Hey, there's prize money there. There's masters only prize money.
I love that.
Yeah.
Molly, thank you so much for joining us today to kind of breaking down all the marathons, sharing your experience at the Olympic Games, and just kind of analyzing with us, giving out awards. I know I kind of tossed that at you last minute, but thank you so much for joining us today too.
Yeah, I always love talking about track and field, so it was super fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
So before we officially end our show, I have an announcement to make. This is kind of a bittersweet thing to share, but
do we have music for this?
Oh, please don't put music.
We need
no music. None of that. Okay. I have been given an opportunity to kind of grow in a different area in my life. So today's actually going to be my final show with FloTrack, and it's also my last day here. So it's honestly so bittersweet. I've done enough crying, so I'm really hoping I get through it. But I am just so appreciative of everyone's support. I remember being with FloTrack starting out back in 2018 when I was just a contractor, just kind of getting my feet wet a little bit. I sidelined the Big Ten cross country championships. I was at the West Regional meet. Whenever NCAA's was in Austin, that one year, I think it was either 2018, 2019, I helped the crew there. And then March 2020, I was full-time with Mile Split. So I was with my kiddos, and then eventually just kind of transitioned into college pro and marathon coverage. But honestly, the last 4.5+ years have been so memorable, and I am just so grateful that I was able to spend my Tuesdays with y'all. And of course, I'm going to miss Corey, Brian, Ashley, and our other producers here in the studio. But it's been such a huge honor to be here. So this is my final show. So it'll be Corey and Ashley holding down the fort, and probably you'll see Brian. But I will be in the track and field space, so you might see me around. I just won't be wearing the Flo Hawk shirt anymore, so it's gonna be different.
Well, you could keep a Flo shirt.
I'm definitely keeping.
A few
I have a few of my favorites that I'm keeping.
All right. Impromptu.
Yes.
Olivia Awards.
Stop.
Favorite moment. What was it for you?
For me here?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Like just in general over the last.
Yeah.
Few
What
years?
was your favorite moment?
I honestly think watching Quincy Wilson break the national high school record not once but twice during indoor and outdoor. I think we were both there together. Yeah, because we were at trials and we're at New Balance National Indoor. So to just see him do that, I will never forget those moments.
What's your favorite workplace moment? Spending it with the squad.
There's been so many karaoke nights.
Yes.
It's been awesome. If you know me, I really don't like karaoke, but there was one time where Ashley was like, we're just going to do a duet. And ever since we've done our duet, we sing High School Musical every single time.
Yep.
So now I'm like, let's go to karaoke. We're going to sing our duet. And then I cheer for Corey every time.
What's one thing you've learned about yourself working here?
One thing I've learned is I am very, very strong. When you're in sports media, you have to be able to juggle a lot of things at a lot of times, because you could be working on an assignment, but then all of a sudden someone decides that they're going pro, or there's breaking news. So you got to like learn to pivot and adjust and be able to work on multiple projects at one time. So one thing I learned for sure is I am strong, and I'm able to like juggle everything that comes with sports media.
What's one thing you'll miss?
Everyone. I'm going to miss, oh my gosh, this is the hardest thing. Corey Mall, who's sitting with me here today, Brian Dybel, Ashley Tishins. They're honestly like family. Like the fact that we get to travel together. Corey knows my drink options. I know Corey's go-to meals. Like we literally know so much about each other because we spend a lot of time together. So I consider everyone here like family. So I think definitely the people, and I'm going to miss my mouth split kiddos for sure.
Will live.
Yes.
You are family to us as well.
I appreciate that. Y'all are family.
I think I can speak for Brian and I can speak for Ashley when I say you are an incredible coworker who's meant so much to us here at Flow Sports, and we're going to miss you a lot.
I know. So. Oh, Corey, stop. Corey never gets emotional. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I told myself I would not cry. Yeah. We need to sign off before tears start rolling. You guys, thank you so much for the last 4.5 years. It's just been so memorable to be here. And again, oh gosh, I told myself I wouldn't do this. To be a part of this family here at Flow has been such an honor. I'm going to miss you guys so much.
We're going to miss you too.
Oh my gosh, I told myself I wouldn't cry. But it's been an honor to host the FloTrack Paris edition with you guys. And thank you, wonderful pistachios, for all the pistachios too. But you guys, take care. Please like, subscribe. I will still be around, just in a different wheelhouse. But please follow tuned with all of our content. Stay tuned to the site. Like, I mean this. Like, this is the place for the final destination when it comes to everything. We have a strong team where these people, they're so passionate about track and field. Like, we literally eat, breathe, sleep, track. Like, we're up watching the Olympics. So if you want all your coverage, like, FloTrack is the place to be. We're the final destination. We're the hub for all of it. So you guys, thank you so much for everything, and we'll see you again next time.